Hey, Linda. I'm going to pause myself. I was just checking that this is working so I don't get an echo, but I think that you can see me. If you can see me and hear me, can you just let me know in the chat box? That would be fab. Hey, Tiffany. So I am going to start in a minute. I'm just waiting for everybody else to pop in, and I'm going to see whether I can put my chat box over here so that I can see. Oh, great. I love it that people can see and hear me because I can't see and hear me. So I've got no idea what I'm doing, but that is a good thing. And I'm just going to wait for a few more people to come in because it's just time now. And I know that I sent out a link a minute ago. So I'm going to make sure that we've got a few more people. Thank you for so much for showing up. It's a big deal for me to try and do technology completely on my own, and I've been following the instructions and I think I know what I'm doing. So I'm glad that you can use the chat box, and please do talk to me so that I don't just feel like I'm talking to myself. I think that a recording of this will go up afterwards, and I'll send it out, but there's some bits that I'm going to talk about live with you all. So for those of you who don't know, and I don't know why you wouldn't know, but I'm Ebony Allard. I'm the Entrepreneur Enabler, and it's my mission to work with misfit entrepreneurs to enable as many of you as possible to be the change that you want to see in the world, to be creative and have fun, and to basically live lives that are as extraordinary as you are, but that really feel as good on the inside as they look on the outside. And that comes from a history that I have of burnout and breakdown. And I really want to help you guys to live in alignment so that you can accelerate adventure, catalyze connection, and magnetize money, which sounds cheesy when I say it, but it's really, really important to me. And I hope that you guys get that. So we've got a few more people rolling in. Please do use the chat box. It's just below my face. Say hello to me, ask me questions, let me know you're there. That would be fab. So I'm doing this today to push myself out of my comfort zone, to connect with you guys so that the few of you that haven't seen my face or haven't heard me talk before get an opportunity to do that. And also because I am in the process of launching Misfit to Maven in 80 days, and I'd love to have some more of you join us. And it's an incredibly important program to me. Hey, Shagna, thank you. Sorry. So it's really, really important to me to connect with as many of you as possible. And I have just spent 5 days hanging out in Spain, recharging myself and getting ready for this next round of Misfit to Maven in 80 days. So so I'm pushing myself out of my comfort zone, trying out a webinar and a masterclass so that I can share some information with you, some stuff that's really, really important for you guys and is the basis of what my program's really about. So today we're going to look at how to have more time in your business, in your life, and be more productive in your business by doing less, which is something that I figure that everyone wants and sounds too good to be true, but I promise you it's not. So hi Rebecca, thank you. Yeah, please use the chat box, ask me any questions as we go. I'll keep an eye on it and say hey and answer things as we go, but we're going to cover 3 areas, and I'm going to keep this class really short because personally I hate it when I go on webinars or classes and the host spends 15 minutes introducing themselves, 2 minutes sharing a bit of content, and then 20 minutes selling you something. That's not who I am. It's not what I'm about. So I've done my intro. If you don't know who I am, ask me later or come and find me, but I feel like you all know who I am. And as I say, we're going to look at how you can have more time in your life, be more predictive in your business by doing this. And we're going to cover 3 areas. So the first area is my value filter, what a value filter is and how you can use it to just know intrinsically whether something is a yes or a no, and that you're making really good decisions. The second area we're going to cover is how to schedule so that you can feel freer and more empowered. And then lastly, I'm going to talk about when to do and when to be in your business, because that's something that I struggled with for a long time. I'm a doer, and I would do and do and do forever unless someone said stop. And that stop for me was burnout or breakdown. And I've learned ways to navigate and I'm really listening to myself so that I know when it's time to do and to push, and when it's time to relax, take my foot off the gas, go spend a week in Spain, or whatever makes you happy. But those are the things that work for me in my life. So really, we need to begin with starting with the end in mind. And that's really about getting clear about what you want, how you're going to measure success or happiness, or that you are going in the right direction or achieving what you want out of your life. And that doesn't always need to be have things. Actually, what works better is when they are be or do things. So I want to be happy, I want to be free, I want to do things that make me feel good and in alignment with my soul, and like I am full of vitality. So that is where the basis of my value filter starts. Now, values are the measures with which we measure our life, whether things are going well or whether they're not going well. And different coaches or different people have different ways of identifying what a value is and using them in their business. The way that I work, and probably you may have seen me refer to a value filter before, is I help you to find 3 core principles which make up a value filter through which you can view the world and make decisions about your business. So the way that I do that, there's a free training on it with a worksheet that you can go through, but it works much better. I've now done it with about 400 people, and I'm licensing it next year so that more people can use it. But you essentially are asking questions that pull out your peak experience in your life, when you felt the happiest, when you felt the proudest, when you felt the most satisfied and fulfilled. And then asking, what sense did it give you? How did you feel about yourself? What was going on in that moment underneath everything else? What was important about it? And so for me, when I do that exercise, the thing that comes through again and again and again is freedom. And so freedom sits at the top of my triangle as the most important thing in my life, the reason for everything. And as I go through, there were lots of other words that can get rolled down into 2 other really important areas in my life. One of those is wild, and one of those is true, or freedom and adventure, and duty. And the essence of those words, the energy of those words, is what's important. And those words are also really, really personal to you. And what they will do is they will be the rolled up, condensed version of everything that's important to you. And so far, what I've found is that everybody has 3. And when these 2 parts are balanced and you are achieving this top thing in your world, then everything in your life feels good on the inside, and everything that's showing up on the outside is in alignment with that. I'm hoping that's making sense. So this is something that you can do for yourself. I can send you the questions and you can work it out. When I do Misfit to Maven, or when I work with clients one-to-one, I do that with them and we get there very quickly. We get the right words. It's quite difficult to come up with your own experiences and memories and then write them down and condense them and do the process. But you can do it in pairs. You can pair up with one another, find people in my group that you want to pair up with and have a go. When you have your value filter, then you can use it to measure. So doing my tax return doesn't fall inside my triangle. If I put it up over my life and look at my tax return, it's not in there. But having done my tax return gives me a sense of freedom and a duty, and allows me to have adventures. So it is something I want to do. So then I need to ask myself, well, if it's something that I want to do, how can I make it more inside of my value filter rather than currently sitting outside it? And for me, that involves doing it with other people, going to a fancy location and hanging out with someone. So what I do is I go up to London, hang out with my friend Nikki, who helps me with my accounts, and we get a really nice day out of it, and I've made it more of an adventure. And so it feels more freeing. I am still getting my duty done. I'm hoping I'm making sense. Has anyone got any questions about that? Just going to see whether anyone's putting anything in for me. No. Okay. So using your value filter is the best way to know whether something is right or wrong for your business. So every time an opportunity comes in, or you want to work on the weekend, or anything really for your business, you can hold your value filter up over that experience or opportunity and know instantly whether it feels like the right thing to do or not. And it's just so simple, but it has revolutionized my business and all of the clients that I work with. So I'm just going to take a glass of water, a sip of water. The second bit that I wanted to talk about was scheduling. So I'm a creative person. I'm always coming up with new ideas. If I could work on 15 businesses and it would provide me with any profit or any sustainability, I would do that. But the key is always to work at one thing at a time, as much as possible. And structure used to be something that made me feel suffocated and stifled. It was not something that I felt could lead to more creativity. And I was wrong. Actually, having a structure, the right amount of structure, can enable you to feel supported, to be more, feel more free and be more empowered. So what I do is I help people to work out the different types of tasks that need to be done, and then work out when would be the best time to do them for you. So some people like to do an hour of admin every morning, whereas other people, like me, I like to do all of my admin on a Monday, and that means it's just done for the week. It means I don't see any clients, I don't take any calls, I don't do anything other than work on my business on a Monday. And then I have client calls Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And that means that if there's any going out or being on the phone or having to put makeup on or anything like that, that happens on a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. And then a Friday is my be creative day. I can go walk in the park, I can go on an adventure, I can sit in a coffee shop and write, but having just that much structure in the week enables me to plot and plan and make sure that everything's covered, and that I know that on a Friday, that's my creative day. And I don't have to do anything else. If something else comes in that's urgent, I can look at it, hold my value filter up. Is it important? Does it have to happen today? Or would it be better to be filtered into my next admin day? So that's a short way of doing it. Another thing that I do is I schedule everything. If it's not scheduled, it won't happen. And I have 5 colours in my diary that I use. I have an online diary. I also have a wall chart which is sitting behind me, and I use the same colours. And that means very quickly I can see where I'm at. So anything that's in my personal life goes in yellow. Anything that's admin goes in red. Anything that's live, like a phone call or a Skype or a Zoom, is in blue. Anything that's to do with marketing or a schedule of promotion goes in green. So I can very quickly see when I look at my schedule what I've got going on. And if there's no yellow in my schedule, something has to change. Okay. So okay, I'm just reading Tiffany's question. Okay, I can understand that is completely exhausting. So Tiffany said, I find it incredibly difficult to keep a structure with my 2 children, even though one's at school. I still only have roughly 2 hours in the morning and then 7 till 10 in the evenings. Completely exhausting. I absolutely get that. one of the things that I work with people on is writing down everything that has to be done, and then looking at the would be nice to haves, and then looking at how long those things take and scheduling them in, and looking at it in a really realistic way. Like, is that going to happen? And if there's way more work than there are hours in your life, then something has to give. And whether that's that you outsource it, whether that's you collaborate with someone or share, or, you know, but don't just don't set yourself up, is what I'm saying. Okay, and so yeah, I have a job and I'm often on call. I think when you understand your own schedule and you understand the variables in your life, it can be, it's looking at how much structure is going to make you feel good and how much is too much and is going to push you over the edge. So for a long time, I wanted a stable income. I wanted to have what we call a bridge job. I haven't had that for about a year now, but when I wanted to do it, I actually had it on a Friday, and I first of all had every Friday, and then I went back to them and renegotiated and said, actually, I'm ready to cut that down. Can I do 3 days a month, or 3 Fridays a month, and have one to myself? And they came back to me and said, well, will the same amount of work still get done? And I said yes, and I ended up pulling longer hours on those 3 days and then having a day to myself. So there's often ways around it. And ultimately, if there isn't ways around it, if there just isn't the time, then there just isn't the time. So something has to give. And it's looking at when you're ready to make that jump into doing it full time, if that's what you want. And if it's not something that you want, you don't need to have your business, this other business that you're working on full time. It can absolutely be part-time or to fit in around everything else, but you need to look at and plan out when you're going to spend time doing it. It doesn't mean schedule down to the last minute. It means keep space in your diary for all of those things that come up unexpectedly, because there will be a certain amount of things that come up unexpectedly all the time. And then you have to make a choice. Like, do you answer that straight away? Are you someone that checks your email all day long, every day? Or are you someone who has an autoresponder that says, I will answer in the evening, or I'll answer on a Monday? So I have something set up, and I just leave things now. You know, if it's really urgent, people will try again. Otherwise, I'll give them a bit longer. And no one died because I didn't answer an email. So it's just adjusting those things, being a bit curious. It's not going to happen overnight. Experimenting with scheduling to a place where it feels supportive, and being willing to try those things out. Again, I've got some exercises that I can give you that will really help with all of the different varieties of jobs that you've got, or situations that you're in, to come up with a solution that works for you. But you know, my tough love and being honest is there may be situations in time when you have to let things go. And then it's using your value filter to work out which things you're letting go and which things are important, which things have to happen now and which things can happen later when you've got more time in your business. Because when you start your business, you will have more time and no money, and then you'll reach a place where you have hopefully more money but less time, and then that cycle goes round again, because then you get some help in, so then you've got more time but less money, and it continues like that. So it's playing with those aspects of business and understanding them well enough to work with the uncertainty rather than working against it. So the third thing we were going to cover was, yes, when to do and when to be. Again, I'm afraid it comes back to planning, and it really comes back to understanding the different activities that you're doing, how you're actually spending your time. Are you just being busy for the sake of being busy, or are you doing income producing activity? I heard the phrase income producing activity a while ago, and I didn't know what it was. I didn't really understand what tasks were income producing activity. And they are allowing people to pay for your products. So then there's no like and trust activities, it's hanging out in Facebook groups or being on Instagram or putting content together for your social media marketing. But if you don't have a strategy, if there isn't a point, then you're just being busy, and that's when you overdo, and that can really quickly lead to burnout. So everything starts with being really, really clear where you are now, getting really, really clear on where you want to be, and then understanding the assumptions that have to prove true in order for you to get there, the milestones that you'd like to pass along the way, and the obstacles that are in your way. Now, sometimes those obstacles are external, they're time, money, resources, and more often than not, those obstacles are actually internal. They are mindset, they're beliefs, they're, oh, I can't do that, I don't have enough experience, I'm not accredited, I'm not clever enough, I'm too old, I'm too young, I'm too whatever it is. So what working with a coach or being guided or doing the kind of work that I do with people can give you is a mirror to, first of all, see what those limiting beliefs are, or the internal obstacles, what they look like, and then find a way over, around, or through to get you to the next milestones and move you forward. And one of the things I should just mention with that is that there are two different people in the world, two different types. There are people who find it really easily to see the long term, to paint a big picture of this glorious future that they're going to have in full Technicolor. But when you ask them, and what's the next 2 steps, they've got no idea. I'm one of those. So you have to work backwards and say, okay, this is what has to happen before that. This is what has to happen before that. This is what has to happen before that, all the way to here, so that you can see what your next steps are. And then there are other people who, if you say, tell me what the future looks like in 10 years, you'll freak them out completely and they haven't got a clue, but they can tell you what the next 2 or 3 steps would be and what would be better, slightly better than where they are. And when I work with those people, that's great. We work out the next 2 or 3 steps. And as they take 1 step forward, work out what would be even better than that, or what would be even better than that. So we've always got 2 or 3 steps forward planned out in front of us. Has that been helpful, and has anyone got any questions? No? I'm hoping that someone's going to have some kind of feedback for me in the chat box. Okay. Well, I'm assuming that was somewhere helpful. What I can do, if anyone wants links to the value filter exercise that I talked about, my scheduling exercise that I talked about, I'm really happy to share them with you. Quite a lot of that information is in my 8-day course. Oh, thank you, Tiffany. So the scheduling stuff is great, and I can share more with that. And also, talking about wood for the trees, getting that bigger picture is the most important part of it. So in Misfit to Maven in 80 days, that's where we start. It's the biggest part of the work that we do together, because without it, you don't know where you're going. So in the first 2 weeks, a couple of different things happen. First of all, you really, really get 2 hours each individually with me, where we work out your particular value filter, so that you've got your exact words and you can work on that in your world, and we give you that to go out and try, and I really work with you on how you use that in your life. Then we go on to scheduling, and I teach you my exact tools, show you exactly how I've got mine all set up, so I'm not faffing around with people scheduling things in. There's a lot of technology that can help, and I really show you exactly how, what I talked about, but in greater detail, how to schedule. And then some other tips and tricks on really how to know when to be doing things, and also what to do in that being time, because I'm someone who finds it terribly difficult not to work. So I'm so glad that some of you have found this helpful. I want to make an offer to you guys. So Misfit to Maven starts next week on Wednesday. We actually have our first class the following Monday, but the last day to join up is the 11th. Anyone that's put in the chat box that they want information from me, I'll go through them afterwards and send stuff out to you, so that's great. Sophie, we're going to do this stuff together when I work with you next week. So yeah, thank you so much for showing up. I just want to tell you this offer that I'm doing. So Misfit to Maven, the early bird has now ended. To join up, it's normally £1,500 up front or 3 payments of £685. Now, I've spoken to quite a few of you in the last week while I've been in Spain, and what I'm really hearing is that you'd love to join, but it's a money thing, and that more importantly, it's a cash flow thing. So for everyone who was on this webinar this evening and who gets in touch with me after this call, I've got an offer for you, which is going to make it cheaper and make it easier for you to join, because I really, really want more of you to join. So if you want in, I need a £300 deposit, and then no payment for 3 weeks, and then it will be £100 a week for the rest of the course. So that's £300 deposit, nothing for 3 weeks when you'll suddenly see the results, and then in the 4th week we'll go to £100 a week for the duration of the course. So we start on the 11th, which is this Wednesday. Our first class is on the 16th, and the way that it's set up is you get one call on a Monday, which is a video call, and it's the small group and everybody else is there. You get live coaching. Someone's hotspotted. If there isn't anything, there isn't anything, but I go through the next week's work, and we're in a Zoom setting, so I can actually see you and you can see me, and we can interact with each other, and it's really personal because that's the way that I work. And then I offer 2 more coaching slots in the week where it's audio, so that you can really think and be in your own space as I live coach you through your personal particular issues that are going on in your business to move you forwards. Then there are worksheets. Yes, I can do dollars, not off the top of my head right now, but I will send out an email straight after this call and put it into dollars for you. So yeah, that's the offer. I'll send out an email immediately after this so that you guys have got the information that you need. So yeah, during the week you get the 2 calls, private Facebook group where you've got access to me and to each other, and that's it. It's the best program that I know. I know I'm completely biased, and I hope that this information was good and useful for you regardless. So come find me in my Facebook group. Thank you for being in the chat box and for making my first solo webinar so much less scary than it could have been. I think I did exactly half an hour, which is what I wanted to be. I'm going to be on Facebook in the Misfit Entrepreneur Mastermind group now, so if you've got any more questions, pop in there. But I'm going to write this email out to you, and I'll put a link in, all the information that you need. Oh, hang on, I've just done the wrong thing. So for anyone who wants the link to Misfit to Maven to find out all the details, go there. And if you are in because you want more stuff like this and you want me each week, then the best thing to do is to go to this PayPal link and give me the deposit, and then I'll set you up with a payment plan for the rest of it. So, oh, thank you. That's so sweet. It's really lovely. Well, it definitely is my first, and I have no idea what I'm doing, but I know my stuff. I trust you guys. I am always just this natural, and Rebecca, I will see you tomorrow. I'm really, really looking forward to it, and you guys have been really supportive. It's really, really important to have people in the chat box, otherwise you just feel like you're talking to yourself. So, thank you so much. I will see you on Facebook, and I'm going to send you an email now. I've got no idea how to end it, so I'm going to try and do that. You may just see me clicking boxes. Thank you. Bye. Oh, before I disappear, does anyone have any questions rather than just thanking me? Thank you, Tiffany.